The Ghana Association of Bankers is blaming the Interior Ministry for stalled processes for the clearance of some imported bulletproof bullion vans for use in the country. President of the association, Johnny Waugh, says the Interior Ministry had raised security concerns about the vehicles, which he says are currently parked at the Tema Harbour. His comments come in the wake of the attempted bullion van robbery at the industrial area here in Accra on Tuesday. In June last year, the police directed all banks to use fortified vehicles to carry cash after a policeman providing escort services for a bullion van was shot and killed. We'll hear from Johnny Waugh shortly, but first, listen to some eyewitnesses who have been speaking to Joy News.
Magazine A2 no makeka bom no mabaneji. Magazine A2 bia A2 no ma baneji say no e she to back. No say bibia plastic popo ba na ka se car na ne tapai. Nti ehwe na E2 ti
There were 4 of the robbers on 2 motorbikes. We heard the loud sound and thought a car's tire had burst. So we came out to see. The guys were wielding AK-47 with 2 sets of magazines strapped to them. They shot several times into the bullion van, but because it was armored, the bullets just deflected into the crowd.
A white one company of fire fire boy no who said no said no enye yenti ba kono fa say fire driver no na driver no move car no slow down kakra o manim ha pe to help no move car no corner nim no shoot to driving mirror until driving mirror pe ne pai enra na hasa Afghanistan no ko na bomb na ekoto bullet na ekoto and na no washi
We thank God that the workers here were not on break, so not so many people were outside. Otherwise, a lot of people would have died. We really had to run. Yesterday, I went all out on the sprint.
Hey, makuma dia tu ya kasa. Nti papa na bra na me fi ni nche onu ba se no. Kami na me gina hwanka we ni be bo me. Ti tu onu bo bra ne nan. Ene America de e fa ne kwa.
Na ultimate America.
You America pa. Me ko America kasa.
We can now hear from the president of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Johnny Waugh. He is blaming the Interior Ministry for the stalled processes for the clearance of some imported armored bullion vans for use in the country.
I can say that we've made some progress. From the perspective of the bank, we've made a lot of progress. Unfortunately, we need the Interior Ministry to also, fast-track their processes and to enable them release the documentation that will enable banks bring in these vehicles. As we speak, some banks have armored vehicles parked at the Tema Harbour. They are unable to clear them because the processes for getting these vehicles cleared at the Interior Ministry have almost stalled. We are not making any progress at the ministry at the moment.
So give us a clear picture of how many banks currently have these armored vehicles and those who don't or are in the process of making procurement.
The way the cash in transit process works, most of the banks do not undertake the operations themselves. It's an outsourced operation. So we have cash in transit companies, and in this particular incident, it was one of the companies, Montran, whose vehicle was involved in the incident. So it is the companies, a lot of the instances, who are procuring the vehicles. But some banks have taken upon themselves to procure some strategic stock or fleet of the vehicles. So in the unlikely event that there is a mishap somewhere, their vehicles will step in to ensure seamless cash movement. Unfortunately, the process for securing what they call the no objection certificate from the Interior Ministry before you can bring in armored vehicles into the country. And just to give them a little bit of background, these vehicles are not your normal, normal vehicles that we see on our roads. These are security vehicles. So the concern the Interior Ministry has raised with the industry is, given the numbers that we are talking about replacing all the soft body vans and replace them with these armored bullion vans. What it means, if we have 300 to 400 soft skin vans, we are going to have almost the same number in bullion vans on our streets, which to them also can pose another level of security risk. So to some extent, I can understand that they want to have a structure around it. But unfortunately, the process towards, putting in place the structure that will allow us to bring in this vehicle has just been completely broken down. We don't even know how to proceed from here anymore. The approvals have stalled. Those who have managed to bring some of the vehicles to the port, the vehicles are parked there, and we have no visibility on what is happening that will enable us to clear them.
Let's do some more on this story. We're joined by the Director General in charge of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Ofori. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. We have been to the grounds. We've heard from eyewitnesses, but if you could give us some more detail about this incident and how the officer and the other personnel were saved in this incident, followed by your officer who was at post, we understand.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, Montreal Security Service was involved in carrying bulk cash from one point to the other. And at industrial area, North Kaneshe in Accra, unknown to them, a group of armed robbers on motorbike attacked their vehicle with sporadic shooting. And thank God it was a special vehicle, though they had their targets in terms of aiming the car, but it was not able to penetrate into the car to hit any of the insiders. They're talking about the bank officials, the police officer in question, and others. But all I would like to say is that this special vehicle is a very good one. Yesterday, the police administration re-echoed our position that carrying bulk cash from one place to the other, be it intra-regional transaction or inter-regional transaction across the country, they need special vehicles of this kind because it is an ample evidence that yesterday we saved lives.
And as far as this is concerned, I know the police administration issued a directive somewhere last year to the banks to procure this. Following that, there was a meeting with other stakeholders, including the Bank of Ghana. In fact, the suggestion was that this could be done in 3 years. But the experts have said, because of the situation at hand, 3 years will be too much of a time. Today we are hearing from the Association of Bankers that they're having some challenges importing the vehicles. What can you tell us about the level of compliance from the banks as far as this directive is concerned?
Well, thank you very much. We are very happy that Montreal is using such a vehicle, armored plated vehicle, that will protect officers and occupants of the vehicle. And we are saying that that is the way to go. But regarding the issues raised by the chairman or president of the Institute of Bankers, I would like to say that the police are not involved in certification of vehicles.
Absolutely.
And it is an administrative issue for which they can continue. And that police will not like to comment on those issues. But what we are saying is that yesterday's incident, in spite of the fact that the vehicle was a special vehicle and the armed robbers continued to shoot at, we had a police officer who forcefully intervened. He was deployed at a strategic installation. He moved in, to stop the robbers. Unfortunately, the robbers shot into the crowd and 3 people sustained various degrees of injuries. Quickly, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Dampare, spoke to the medical authorities to assess the victims in whatever way they can, and police gave support to that effect, and he also spoke to some of the victims based on the permission of the medical authorities, and he assured them that the police will do everything possible to get the perpetrators. As I speak to you, we've assembled special teams of anti-robbery squad to move in, and we can assure Ghanaians that no matter what, we're going to get them soonest, and they will face justice. We are very serious and committed, and let members of the public also know the effort initiated by the police administration, deploying massively at all joints, intersections, and various locations in the city, not only the countrywide, Bono East, Bono region, the northern region, Upper East, Upper West, we are everywhere making sure. And you might have noticed that in recent time, from the last quarter, up to date, it has been very quiet in terms of robbery. And we're not going to sit down aloof. We're going to scale up our security operations again to make sure that we contain them.
But DCOP, this assurance is good, but you know, immediately what comes to mind is the last incident, which was around Kolebu, that saw one of your officers die in that incident. What is the update on that? Have we been able to arrest the perpetrators?
You mean that they didn't put...
They didn't put, exactly,
no,
yes.
We've done a lot, you know, in terms of fighting these daylight robberies. And I believe that appropriate time we might come out, you know, and tell Ghanaians a good story about what we've done to contain it. And this new one that also surfaced, we'll deal with it. And
now, in the absence of these special vehicles, what has been done? What is the arrangement to ensure that these bulk cash are transmitted in a way that is safe for your officers and the general public?
Police, we are committed to the safety of all manner of persons. In spite of the fact that some of the makeshift vehicles are still being used, we devise strategies we cannot put out, you know, to make sure that we protect the carrying of bulk cash from one place to the other. We are seriously on the ground, and we are protecting them to allow business to go on.
And that strategy includes what? Extra men? Because as it stands now...
It may involve extra men, it may involve special escort, and what have you.
But how is the police service taking this? I mean, we saw the anger, we saw how the families of these individuals who have died in the various robbery incidents, devastated, worried about the loss of their breadwinners, for instance. Are we not putting the lives of police officers, I mean, beyond the general public,
officer safety
in danger if the banks do not adhere to this directive?
Officer safety is very paramount and dear to the police administration. As yesterday, as I'm saying, that yesterday the police administration re-echoed its position that special vehicles, light armoured plated vehicles, should be used in carrying, you know, bulk cash from one point to the other, and that will encourage that step. And ever since the death that you mentioned, a lot of discussion took place. Even the new police administration even engaged the governor of the Bank of Ghana, the managing directors of all the financial institutions in the country, and we agreed on special terms to upgrade our services and also to make sure that these special vehicles comes on board as a solution. And as I speak to you, we are adhering to that. We are working, and we are very happy that companies like Montrak have brought in special vehicles, and yesterday it is an evidence for us, you know, to talk about saving lives of the bank officials and the police officer on duty. So that is the way to go. But regarding what the association is saying, I believe administrative procedure, things need to be done according to law and procedure. And the police, we are not involved in certification and will not delve into that angle. But we hope that at the end of it, the dust will settle, and whoever is involved in carrying bulk cash, among others, will do it in safety.
Thank you very much. That's DCOP Kwesi Ofori. He is Director General in charge of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service.